Boom, we are alive, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us this evening. Steel with the Arcane Bear. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin's price as we've jumped back up to the $110,000 area. I have revised some of my upward targets, keeping the big far off targets there just in case, but for now, aiming just a little bit lower, and we're going to take a look at why I think that is. So we've been following Bitcoin on this chart for quite some time now. And, you know, this recent move back down to around 100,000 and jumping back up to the $110,000 area. We've been following what appears to be a fairly large reaccumulation pattern. We had what appeared to just be our spring at the beginning of April with the tariffs that were going on. Always a great sign, something that spooks the markets. Tried to push down all the way back to the previous low of around 75,000, instantly moved back out and beyond. On the daily, you know, the stochastic RSI is turning up, the MACD is turning up, and the RSI isn't in oversold territory yet. My previous targets had us going out somewhere as high as maybe 200,000. And although that upward target is still there at the $200,000 mark here for a 4236. I'm looking for more conservative targets now between $124,000 and $150,000 to exit and close out this position that I've built. It's good to be patient. There's always market opportunities. I watching James Wynn lose $100 million. You can be patient. There's no need to play with large 40x leverage positions, but nonetheless, leverage can help play the game when you are good at recognizing these big shifts in dynamics and fear coming into the market. So, if we go down to the larger time frames, you can see some of the smaller aspects of what we've been following. This turned out to, and I think that this is going to be the top of the range, which kind of makes sense here. So we could actually bounce up and down. The 4 hour here is, the stochastic RSI is trying to point down. So we'll see here, but I suspect we're gonna try to run up back to around 111,000, simply because we've seen strong moves out of Link in the last few hours, and a few of the other assets all jumping 6 to 4% in the background. I suspect these are just kind of leading indicators of what will happen for Bitcoin. Again, with Link here, we've had almost a 6% straight up candle in the last hour or two. Tau as well, some pretty strong candles. So I assume that what we're witnessing for the rest of the assets is just a short moment away for Bitcoin here, that we push up into the $111,000 area of resistance. We may actually come back down to test this, and this just end up being a larger reaccumulation range, which would make sense. We're at the very top of a range, end of the backup before we could go ballistic in that $200,000 area. Again, I'm being a little bit more conservative with my targets based off this last little bit, but this leading into a reaccumulation right at the edge of this backup phase before going into $150,000 feels like a very strong likelihood at this case. So I think that when we're watching these market dynamics, you know, my initial targets were up at 200, 250, revising pretty conservatively down to, for sure, we're getting to 150. Let's put $200,000 on the target as we get closer. But for now, aiming at the $150,000 to $130,000, I think is going to be where we get to pretty easily. So just a quick little video update. I'll be back with more. Sorry it took me so long, guys. I went to make videos all the time, and all of a sudden I got hit with a wisdom tooth, and then I got sick for like a week, and then I had to take antibiotics to get the wisdom tooth out, and then I caught like a stomach bug. I've just been getting my ass kicked out here in Indonesia this last month. It was actually probably one of the worst months but now that I'm healthy again, oh my God, being healthy is so amazing. Sorry I took such a long break there, but leave your thoughts, your comments, your questions. I got targets going up to 150 pretty conservatively, fairly easily. And with the rest of the momentum in the market, like big moves coming out of everything right now, I suspect that that's going to just continue. So we'll keep a close eye, but I don't want to get too optimistic yet and say 250 grand, but again, watching Link jump up here 6% in just the last few hours, I'm feeling pretty bullish on the overall market sentiment. So let's leave it at that. Quick little update, and I'll be back with a bunch more video updates over the week here. Shorter, concise, specific assets only. This time just Bitcoin. We'll look at the rest of the assets in the coming videos. T with the Arcane Bear. Thank you all for joining us. See you on the next episode.